We are back with another episode of the Welcome to the Circuit podcast. I am Kate Constable, joined once again by NBA prospect analyst Rashawn Phillips and the founder of theseasonticket.com. That's Alec Kinsky. Guys, it's been a while. How are we?
I'm fantastic. Look, I got a new haircut, so I'm feeling good about today.
And you got a new backdrop too. We like that.
Yeah.
Looking good all around.
Yeah, he mentioned the haircut first. That was going to be my first comment actually when seeing it. But yeah, looking good. It's been a bit, but basketball has been great. So
yeah, I think this is our first podcast since sports came back. I want to say since basketball's been back, which has been fun to be able to watch some NBA games. Just watch sports in general, honestly.
Especially being in an AAU format, it's been especially unique. So
right. Well, okay, so that's what I want to kind of start this episode with here is talking a little bit about what's going on down in Orlando inside the bubble, because we've really seen some guys kind of, I don't want to say come out of their shells, but really start to make a name for themselves and maybe play more up to their potential. We see Michael Porter Jr., Gary Trent. I think Duncan Robinson had like 6 threes the other night. So guys, I feel like there's something that's got to be said about guys kind of thriving in this open gym type atmosphere where they're just kind of playing free. What do you think?
I'm gonna let Alec go first because I know this is what he wants to talk about this. Alec, you got the floor.
It's been a recurring theme on Twitter and on TV of being surprised by certain players developing into what more or less they were projected to be. And, there's a number of different guys. You mentioned them, Gary Trent, Bol, Michael Porter, Darius Bazley. There's guys that they've already proven that they are that guy, right? They've done it in the EYBL. Each of them, averaged, over 15 points in the game in the EYBL. Michael Porter was an MVP. I tweeted off his numbers about a week ago when people were, kind of shocked that he's doing this. I'm like, no, Michael Porter's turned into what everyone thought he would be. There's a reason he was the number 1 player in the country. Gary Trent was a top 10 player in the country. And I think sometimes people get, and Rashad, you can speak to this, and it's a perfect pass off, the difference between college and the NBA. Some guys aren't made for college systems, right? And Gary Trent's a perfect example of that. Gary Trent's a pro. So it's like he always refined his game to be a pro. All those guys did in the EYBL. That's what it does. It's a 24-second shot clock. So it's just the whole speed and pace. That's what it prepares you for. So it's not surprising, I think, for some of the cases. Absolutely, a TJ Warren. He took a whole different mindset into the. He's always been this good. It's not like TJ Warren got better. He took a different mindset and he implemented it. And look how good he's been playing. But some of these guys, especially Porter and Trent and, really Bol, he was an EYBL MVP in 2017. He's good. He's good. Everyone knew he was good. He had some flaws, but, it's not as much of a surprise, if you will.
Yeah, not for me either, Alec. That's a great way to bring that up. When you look at the NBA, a lot of times people, when I say people in general, the kind of the casual watcher, don't understand that you have to allow these kids to get it to an adjustment stage. It's almost like when you move into a new city, you got to get used to your new place. You got to find where the restaurants are. It's the same thing in sports. When you get to a new team, there's other guys in front of you. They're superstars. Let's just take Gary Trent Jr. for an example. This is a Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony. He's on the floor with possibly 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to come in and just impose your will on squads like that. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, to piggyback on what you said, Alec, when you look at these kids and how they had success in the previous years with Michael Porter Jr. and what he did in the EYBL with Trae Young. Michael Porter Jr. for me, without the injury concerns, he was a consensus number 1 pick for me, and I'm on record saying that. So we shouldn't be surprised at what he's doing and Bazley and Duncan Robinson. These guys have played AAU basketball, and the bubble has kind of taken these kids back to their childhoods where they've been able to tap into their childhood greatness and live it out in front of this big stage. So that's kind of what we are witnessing right now.
Yeah, Kate, and you know, your question kind of summarizes in itself is that these kids are playing free, and it's, you just look at Austin Rivers. You know, he used to play every game in that same gym, and look how he's been playing, right? It's just guys feel more, it's loose, it's a different atmosphere, and I think guys, you know, really, some of them you can clearly see do feel more comfortable playing in this type of environment. So, and also I think there's a transition that goes from, you mentioned Gary Trent, like he's used to being the dude, right? So he's got to figure out how to operate off the ball and figure out what he does best and defer. That's an adjustment period, even for Bazley. Like he was always the guy. Like he has to learn how to defer. He has got to get more skilled. He has to get stronger. But that's why you drafted him, is because, like, so don't be surprised when he turns out to be more valuable than where you drafted him, because you drafted him on potential. So, you know, guys tap into their potential at all different times. So.
Absolutely. Well said.
Right. And I think it'll be really exciting to see them next year. You know, how do they adapt once they're back in an arena with fans and people screaming and things like that. So that'll be exciting to watch. Another guy, Rashad, you have for years talked a lot about Damian Lillard. You've been very high on him. And now, I mean, we've seen in past seasons what he can do. It's no shock of what he's doing right now. He's a superstar, but is it, I mean, back-to-back 50-plus point games, that's not surprising to you at all?
No, not at all. Not for me. And this kind of goes back to me when I was evaluating back when Lillard was coming out of college. Obviously, I'm a mid-major guy. I'm biased towards my mid-major players, and I'm proud of that. But when I evaluated Damian in college, I just said this kid is going to get to the NBA and it's going to be a problem, because he has all the skills and the qualities to be what he is today. Like, we're just witnessing what Dame has already been. But what you don't want to do with mid-major point guards, and this is for the listeners, this is what you don't want to do with a mid-major point guard. We're all built to destroy. So we're all waiting for that one moment of opportunity for you to tick us off just a little bit, and we go off the deep end. So when the Paul George and all that, they got to woofing, I tweeted it, get ready. It's about to come, and we watch Damian drop 50 and 60. That's just what he does.
Mm-hmm. It's a mindset thing.
Totally. I getting my master's last year, I actually wrote a paper about how people need to stop being so shocked when Damian Lillard goes off for 50 points or something. I mean, let's get over it. I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah. Well, and I think with Damian, and this goes into, you know, it's more my world with grassroots, is he has what's very hard to scout and figure out. He's like the killers, right?
Yeah.
It's a differentiator. Like, it really is. Like,
on paper.
Right. You can't really quantify it, but you can see it. So when they won the other night, and he's, you know, I don't even know who he's talking to. I don't think it matters who he's talking to. He's probably talking to himself. Like, he knows what works for him, and he has that built into him. So when I'm evaluating talent, I try to find those kids that, yeah, he might not have a great game, but that kid wanted it, right? And he's a gamer. So, you know, I'm glad the world is finally getting to see, you know,
right.
The whole world's getting to see that, because it's, you know, you got a little bit of a spotlight on the bubble. But yeah, I mean, he's been doing this, and you know, he's starting to get more help around him, and you know, we could have a whole different conversation about, you know, Melo and the fact that we got 2 years of his career stolen from him. So watching it all come together, I'm a Blazers fan for the rest of the year, 100%.
All right, guys. Well, earlier this week, college football for 2 of the Power 5 conferences is canceled. Whether that's the right or wrong decision, we don't need to discuss that and get into that today. But I think it's putting people kind of on high alert for the upcoming college basketball season. What's that going to look like? Will they play? Will they push it to the start of next year? What are your guys' thoughts there on what universities need to do, what players need to do, what the general public even maybe needs to do in order for there to be college basketball? Because we already lost March Madness last year. I can't lose it again.
Wow, this is a tough one for me, because I'm a parent now.
Yeah.
So I look at everything from the parent eyes before I look at it from a player or a fan. So as a parent, if I have a son that is in college right now, it will be hard for me to allow him to play, because as a parent, I care about safety. And if you can guarantee the safety for my son or my daughter that's playing collegiate sports, then I'm all for it. But if you can't reassure me that my daughter or my son will be safe in this environment, going out risking his life for free for this virus, it's really hard for me to, to jump on the other side of the fence and say, let's have college basketball and let's have fun. So I think that, it's going to be hard to do. I think they're going to attempt college basketball, but it's almost impossible to do it because there's no data, from a scientific standpoint, there's no data. So I'm just really, this hurts. This is a touchy subject for me. Kate, you don't supposed to be bringing that out.
I know. I'm sorry. We got to get serious every once in a while. Come on.
It's, I'm in the same boat, as a parent now, where it's like, you have to look at it from multiple angles. I think, Rashad hit the nail on the head with them being, they're students, and they're not, the big differentiator is whether or not they're being paid and whether it's their choice. Right. So it's a difficult one. It's a bummer for sure. I think here's my take on it. I don't know if you guys watched Hard Knocks last night or 2 nights ago. The season opener for Hard Knocks LA it's the Chargers and the Rams. They're both, obviously showing how both are going through basically a COVID training camp. And the protocol they have to take as a professional organization, and they're openly saying, we don't even know if we're doing enough. Look at how much has to be put into that, right? And you're putting so much extra protocol into everything, and you're not making any money off it because fans can't come. So it's a money decision too. It really is. Like, people hate to say it, but it has to be, because you have to spend money on just look at that episode. They have everything is about being socially distanced and testing, and it's not cheap at all. And Anthony Lynn, in midway through the episode, tells his whole team, guys, I can't guarantee you're not going to catch it. I had it. I can't guarantee it. Yeah. So if you can't guarantee something, and there is, it's so many unknowns, I think that the damning stat was the 10 guys that have the heart condition after they had COVID. I think that's a damning stat, and I know that played into it for sure. And it's, I'm in the same boat where if in this for NFL and NBA and pro sports, the athlete's choice, totally fine with that. They're grown adults. I think we should play. The NFL shouldn't cancel. That's what they're being paid for. Everyone else is trying to do their job. But for college, it's definitely it's just a slippier slope.
Yeah.
There's no way to do a bubble of any sort with so many schools and travel and all of
that. Not really, not with that. I mean, you'd have to get very creative. It would almost have to be over the holidays, right? Where everyone has a break anyways. So, I'm glad there's smarter people than me that have to decide.
Yeah. And
we'll let other people make that decision.
And it's just a quicker way to spread through sports. It's been proven that sports spreads it fast. That's already collected in the data, that sports spreads it fast.
100%. And the NBA is very unique because they're a $1 billion company that can afford to put the testing in place to make it happen. Not everyone can do that.
Right. All right, guys, we'll move on to a little less serious topic here. The season ticket released its 2021 player rankings back in July. And now it's time for 2022 rankings. So again, there's a committee of 6 people who go through all of these players, evaluate them, rank them, a list of 150. So guys, of the 150 players on this list, who stands out to you the most? Alec, we will start with you.
Yeah, for 2022, this is probably the group immediately that gets hit hardest from COVID, right? Because they haven't been out, and really this is the year you differentiate yourself. So, we took a lot of, I know that the committee looked at a lot of film from the high school season and what we could evaluate. And, 2 kids that stand out for me, both had terrific high school seasons, but both kind of started strong grassroots seasons as well. One is Dariq Whitehead. So he's a big guard from Montverde Academy. 6'6", can run the floor, has range. Started with Team Durant. They have a really talented lineup, had a really, really good first weekend. And, we have him top 15 in the country. He's a certified, blue chip player, if you will, and he's certainly a contender for, if you look at the makeup of him and you talk to him, and it's like you're talking to a 35-year-old. So he has the intangibles, that I think stand out, and he could be a potential guy that, depending on how his junior year goes, takes a hard look at taking the G League route. The other kid that really standing out, we really had to take a hard look at him over the last couple weeks, because he's been one of the few playing in Texas, is Cason Wallace. He's a pro skills guy, but they've been playing under the name Taz Elite, and he made an appearance at the Team Griffin Combine. Team Griffin invited him, and he absolutely tore it up. He's about 6'4" point guard. Really active distributor. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I think a lot of people have overlooked him thus far. So, we made the appropriate changes. Cason Wallace, I think, is going to have a great year, junior year at Richardson in Texas, and those are two of my favorites from the 2022 rankings for sure.
All right, Rashad, let's hear yours.
Look, I'm a really huge supporter of Bryce Griggs. Like, this kid is tremendous. Obviously, I'm a guard, so I'm always talk about it. But I think this kid is the best pure scorer in the country. He does it with skill. He does it with precision. He plays with a ton of confidence. Trae Young loves him. James Harden loves him. I saw a little bit on YouTube. Like, this kid can really play. He's exciting, and he's worth all the praise. So I really love Bryce Griggs. We're going to definitely keep our eye on him. Secondly, I want to talk about this kid. I got to. Sky Clark. This kid is fantastic. Big guard, 6'3", north of 190. I see this kid playing on a big stage one day. I really don't like to say that when they're in high school, but I can see this kid playing on a big stage. He's so skilled. He's so gifted. He's so poised. There's not a lot of kids that I would pay to watch play. But Sky Clark, whatever the ticket is, I'm buying it. I'm coming to watch you play.
Wow, that is a big statement. I like it. Okay, well, I'm not sure I can top that, but we're going to try. One of mine is number 5 on our list, I believe, Dior Johnson. He's moved around quite a bit. We finally found a home in Oak Hill, which I think is going to be just an awesome fit for him this year. He's also committed to Syracuse, so not bad there. And played last year for LeBron's team. Just a dynamic point guard. He just has a complete game. I mean, if you watch him play, there's no huge glaring weaknesses. I mean, obviously guys are always trying to improve in every area, but there's no one specific area that he needs to really elevate his game at. My next guy is Kamari Lands. He just transferred to Prolific Prep. Versatile guard, wing option. He can really impact the game in several ways. Shot, I think, nearly like 40% from 3-point last year as a sophomore, which is just unbelievable. I mean, averaging like 6 assists and 8 rebounds to go around with that. Something around there, don't quote me. Catch and shoot type of guy, but really just a fun all-around player to watch.
I like that. I like that, Kate. I'm going to piggyback about Dior. For me, watching Dior, I think he's the craftiest point guard, high school point guard that I've seen in the past 25 years. Mm-hmm. Like, just his ability to shift and make plays, and he's so comfortable with the ball, and he's so creative. Like, he has the it factor. Yep. Dior has the it. If everything comes together for that kid, he's going to be tremendous.
So are you paying for a ticket to watch him as well?
Yeah, I'm going to pay for a ticket to watch Dior. Yeah, whatever the price is to watch Dior, I'm there. I'll be there.
You're there. Okay, yeah. I like it.
Dior, he's played up, his whole life, if you will, in grassroots and AAU. So it seems like he's been around forever. And that can kind of, have a negative effect because he's just been around so long. And every time you see him, he gets better, and he's always in control. And I think being at Oak Hill will be a great, kind of stepping stone for him. And, like Rashad said, he has a little bit of Lillard in him. It's like he's definitely a killer. And to piggyback off Lands, I think going to Prolific Prep's going to allow him to, he's going to be the guy there, for at least 2 years. And he's got a couple older brothers, one's at Iowa State, the Coleman Lands brothers. So, I mean, he comes from a good pedigree. So yeah, we're big fans of Kamari Lands and think he's going to be something that,
he is.
All right, guys, so those are some guys to watch on our list. Another group of guys that we want to talk about leads us to our Talk Soon segment, one of my favorite segments of this show. And Rashad's, we name a few players that might be kind of flying under the radar right now, but will most definitely be a name that you're going to be talking about, you know, a couple months, years down the road here. Rashad, you coined this phrase, so I'm going to let you start off.
You know what? I want to talk about a university's class, a recruiting class. I want to talk about.
I know where this is going.
I want to talk about Florida State's entire 2021 class. Okay, like I got to talk about what Coach Hamilton and his staff have done. They've done a tremendous job. Coach Jones, Coach C.Y. Young, that's my man. Coach Smith. They have brought the right kids into this program, but not only that, they get their kids to buy in. Mm-hmm. I think the Florida State coaching staff is the best in the country of getting the right kids and getting them to buy in. You look at the pedigree. You got this Trent Forrest, who's in the draft this year. Pat Williams, in my opinion, is a top 7 pick. Vassal's a lottery pick. Florida State gets the most out of their kids. The kid they just signed, Jalen Worley. Is it Worley?
Yep, Worley. Yep.
Yep. Jalen Worley just committed. They committed 4 out of the top 100 kids. You got Matt Cleveland, who's ranked number 12 by us. He's killing for the Atlanta Celtics. Like, this kid is tremendous. You got Bryce McGowan, who's ranked 46 by us, and you got John Butler, the 7-footer. And they got the JUCO transfer, Naheem McLeod, another 7-footer. Again, Florida State, they love size, they love versatility, and you just got to take your hat off to Coach Hamilton and what they're doing at Florida State. Florida State's basketball team will be a national champion in the next 3 to 4 years. That's my talk soon.
Yeah. All right, we're going to keep an eye on that. I like it. Alec, let's hear from you.
I 100% agree with that take. I think, the numbers don't lie. Just look at Florida State's record over the past couple of years. Look at their home record. Look at what they've developed as a program, and they're one of the best programs in the country. There's no argument they are a blue chip program now. Just look at who they're bringing in, and look at how they do it too. And I love how Leonard Hamilton's active on Twitter. He gets, that's part of the reason why they get it. They're real. That whole coaching staff is, and the kids they got are all great kids in their own, each program raves about them. So, it's, that's not surprising. I'm going to cheat as well a little bit here. My talk soon is an entire group. Over the weekend, I took in the Team Griffin camp, as I mentioned before, where Kason Wallace was, and their 15U unit is one of the best I've ever seen, to put it simply. They're actually going to be competing I think they're competing right now under a different team name, the D1 Shooters at Who Wants to Smoke in Dallas. They'll be at our event at the 28th through 30th, but we're talking 3 potential 5-star big men. Gus Yalden is a 6'8", throwback forward, does everything, great vision in the open court. He's been offered by basically everyone, and he's 15 years old. David Oyana, going to be highly ranked by us. He's a 6'10", 6'11", just really paint beast, does everything, offensive, defensive. He's growing into himself. And then they got shooters on the wings. They got a kid named Tyler Smith from Texas. He has that it factor, what they look like. I know Rashad's familiar with him. When you're talking, hey, he's the 3rd guy I mentioned, it's they got Drew Steffi, lights out shooter, Parker Friedrichsen, lights out shooter. They're loaded across the board. I feel like, they've kind of coined this term that, COVID saved a lot of people. That's been, floating around in grassroots basketball. I think that applies perfectly to this, this Team Griffin unit, because they would have been an absolute force had the UIBL happened.
All right. My talk soon is, I hope I'm not botching this name, Vincent Iwuchukwu. Alec, did I get it right? Iwuchukwu. I'm working on it because I'm starting to remember it, kind of like when we want people to remember this name for later on. He's class of 2022, rising junior, a big man from San Antonio, and he literally just transferred to the powerhouse Lalamere. And once again, I just think that's going to be a really great fit for him. Big man, like I said, runs the floor really well. I think he will be a guy to keep an eye on these next couple of years here. But I also have one other surprise talk soon that I'm going to spring on you guys. And this is probably like one of I've been excited to tell you guys this one. My talk soon is Rashad's daughter. Because if you haven't been following Rashad on Twitter, I suggest you do, RP3 Natural. She's all over the place. She's been putting in the work. Rashad's got her doing drills. She's doing the defensive shuffle back and forth in the garage. I just love it. So I don't know.
If you ever want to feel worthless at 9:30 in the morning, check out Rashad and his.
I'm like rolling out of bed, and she's already up putting work in, got her workout going. Yeah. This girl, let me tell you, she's gonna be keep an eye on her.
I have no worries.
Okay, well, we will just leave it at that. That's a good way to finish. We'll talk soon, Rashad. We'll talk soon on that. Guys, that's a wrap on today's show. Once again, everyone go follow Rashad on Twitter and Instagram, RP3 Natural, and on his website, Sports Talk 2319. You can also follow Season Ticket at the Season Ticket and at the Circuit Hoops on Twitter. And these 2022 rankings will be dropping soon, so it's something to keep an eye on. But guys,
and Kate, shameless plug, our Circuit apparel store launched. So
and do you have a sweatshirt on right now?
Yes, I have one of the sweatshirts on right now. Move this out of the way. We'll have a bunch of gear available, so we'll have a link below this as well.
Okay, great. Well, guys, it's been fun. We will talk to you soon.